I'm John Mello, and this is the Road to 1,000 Users. What I want to talk about today is a new concept that I was introduced to this week by somebody named KP, who is pretty well known on Twitter in the no-code space. I was happy to have a conversation with him, very lucky to have a conversation with him, and I'm hoping to get him on the stream soon. If you don't know KP, he built the connection between Bubble and OnDeck, so very well known in the startup founder space, particularly around no-code tools. And he also started this movement called building in public, right? So kind of the concept of build your application and your app idea and your software in public in front of an audience, right? So you're getting almost this live feedback like as you're building, which I think is pretty revolutionary, right? It's kind of the opposite of let's be in stealth mode and someone's going to steal my idea, so I have to like be very hush hush about everything. This removes all of that and just puts everything out there, which is, kind of the premise for what I'm doing here too. It's like I want everyone to know all of the fuck ups and, learnings that I am accruing along the way of trying to find 1,000 users, which I think is more valuable than just, looking at it in retrospect, right? As it's happening. So one of the things that KP turned me on to was this concept of social capital. How much social capital do you have with the audience that you're serving, right? So your users, basically, right? So my users are freelancers and agencies that build applications on Bubble. Hopefully at some point I expand to a larger audience. But my thought there, when he started talking about that and really just, I never heard that term before, social capital. I started thinking like, well, how much social capital do I have with my user base, right? Or the people that, I'm in contact with. I think I've started to develop some social capital with them, if I'm being honest, because I started that Discord community, right? And we have our weekly chats. And a lot of times just naturally what comes out of these chats are problems that people run into around scoping and pricing and all of these different things that everyone seems to have in common. The interesting thing is that everyone looks at the problems a little bit differently and has solved for them, in their own way that kind of suits them. So it's hard to build a feature set around the feedback that I've collected so far. So I'm not really building it much at this point because I feel like I'm just still learning and, getting to know my user base or the audience that I'm trying to help solve problems for. So I don't really feel comfortable like building out new features because I don't know what to build, right? I've talked about that in previous videos where it's like, if I don't know what I need to build should be obvious, right? I shouldn't have to think, ooh, what's the next feature I should build? No, I should know that. I should know this is the thing that everybody's doing wrong. I'm going to build a problem to solve that feature and I'm going to do it very quickly. And then once I show that to somebody, it's not like, can you use this? It's like, here, I solved your problem. This is how, right? And it's just so intuitive and obvious, like, oh, okay, that's going to save me an hour of time. Why wouldn't I use John's tool? I trust him and he's built something exactly for me. So it becomes such a no-brainer that it's, that's how I want to build features, right? So again, the discipline to not build is killing me. It's going to kill me because, you have the skill set to build something and you don't know what to build. But it's so I'm fighting the urge to build random features that nobody probably will ever use because it'll be a waste of time for me. I've already done that twice. I think I built two main features that I think I've showed, which is the ability to see different prospects for Bubble RFPs and, kind of this scoping module of that, which I don't think either of them really nailed an exact pain point there. It's good. Like the 59 users that I do have, I think they are getting some value out of it, but it's not something where it's like, John, you're a genius. It's just kind of like, this is a little bit helpful and this is a good start. I got some people's attention this way, started building that social equity or social capital. But it's not, I don't think it's really at a point where I'm really nailing somebody's problem. And that's so because I'm in that mindset, I don't really want to build anything until I'm absolutely sure what the next feature is going to be, what's the biggest problem that everybody has, and what are they doing wrong, and then just build that feature set. Another idea that he introduced me to, KP introduced me to, is this this idea that there's 4 quarters of your idea, right? And I honestly I forgot what the second 3 are. I don't remember, but quarter one, Q1, if you think about it like a basketball game, is just being involved with your audience, right? Knowing them, dribbling the ball, if you will, and just understanding what the problems that people are talking about to see if there's anything really there, right? And being honest with myself, like, is there really a problem here, right? I think I've yet to identify what that problem is. I think like everybody, all the bubble freelancers and agencies have problems to be solved, but the question becomes like, what's the most important one? And I haven't figured that out yet. So I think just being in the space, having these weekly meetings on the Discord, being engaged in the conversations, I'm just getting to know the people and starting to dig at the problem that they have. I thought it was scope creep at first, then I thought it was finding clients. Now I realize it's something more elusive than that, that I haven't nailed yet. So if I'm being honest with myself, that's where I am in this process, and that's okay. I don't care. I don't care how long this takes. I said that from video 1. I want to be in this space no matter how long it takes, and the satisfaction of solving a real problem for people is worth the wait to me. Join the Twitch live stream every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I'd like to get a conversation around how people are going about finding their first 1,000 users, or if you're a founder that is already past that point, I'd like to get your perspective. I had a great conversation with Jonathan Timianko last week, and he gave me some, very good framework for how to think about your first, your user base, and the first, he's got 3,500 users. So he said that he didn't even realize what problem he was solving completely until he got to 1,000 users, which I think is a very good lesson for me. Okay, so that's it. Thanks everybody. I will catch you next week.